Welcome to this quick introduction using Bake Wrangler in Blender. I'm going to show you the basics by creating a set of textures for a standard Unity material, and I have a fairly simple high to low poly model that I've UV unwrapped and will bake the textures from this. Bake Wrangler is already installed and I'm just using the default settings. So first we'll make sure that the Bake Node editor is open. And now create a new recipe by hitting this new button, and here we go. Let's just quickly look at the settings nodes. So we have the mesh settings with margin and ray distance being the most important there, the path settings with the size and the number of samples as well as the device, and our output settings with the size of the output image and the format. The pin in the top left of each of these causes them to apply globally when pinned, so that we don't have to attach settings to every single node. The first thing I'm going to do is add the objects that we need to bake. So the target is going to be the incubator low, and the sources we'll add using the objects node, which connect to source. And the easiest way to get them is we just select everything in the window and add selected. So this is a standard high to low poly setup where we have a single target with a whole bunch of source objects. There's nothing in the scene input because this is purely for lighting, and we will not be baking any lighting other than ambient occlusion, which doesn't need anything in the scene. So we'll just quickly set the settings we're going to need. Normally I probably bake this at 4K, but for this demo I'm just going to use 1K, which means use a margin of about 4 pixels, and the ray distance, you could go to trouble of using cages and all that sort of thing, but again this is just a quick intro, so we'll just go with a global ray distance. 0.4 should be good. We will need alpha maps in this, so I'm going to set the colour to RGBA and leave the format as PNG. The last thing to do really is just add the passes we want. We want the PBR albedo pass. We'll also need the metallic and smoothness passes from PBR. And the other three that we can add from a Unity material are normal, ambient occlusion, and height map. The normal map from the standard Blender passes is good, and we also want the ambient occlusion from that. I probably wouldn't normally bake a height map for this, but let's add one anyway. It's in the Wrangler category, and a height. So we'll just attach these input to all of these, and now we need to connect our outputs. So I'm just going to save the images to the current folder, and we'll call this incubator underscore. First output is albedo. Now metallic and smoothness need to be combined into a single image. Metallic is supposed to go into the red channel, so we'll just use a post-processing channel map to put that into red, and this can just go into the alpha output on the output node, which shows up when you have a image format here set to RGBA. If we take that away, see there is no alpha available, but we definitely want alpha for this. We'll call this metallic. The from V means value, so we do want to use the pixel value rather than any channel. Normal map, ambient occlusion, and the height. So I'll just just give them suffixes which are added onto the end of the name. Normal, occlusion, and height. One last thing before we bake, the ambient occlusion will need more than one sample. We have up here global samples are set to 1. All of these maps only need one sample, but we can override that value here and we'll use 16 should be enough for ambient occlusion. Now we can easily just bake out these images by hitting this and we'll create all of them. No errors, press OK, and you'll see this icon in the bottom right has gone blue, indicating that it's processing. We can click on that and it will bring up a log showing what is actually happening. You can see here it's doing the various passes and outputting images, and when that's finished it'll turn green. There we go, bake completed, and the icon has gone green, and the images will appear automatically loaded. So there's our albedo, height map, which looks like it might be slightly wrong. There's our metallic and smoothness. So there we go, those maps are easily just imported into Unity and will plug straight into the standard material. And you can see here that the red has only, the output has only gone into the red channel, and also if we look at alpha we can see that the roughness, or rather smoothness map is in that. So that makes it all very easy, and if we want to change anything we can output just a single one. Let's have a look at the ambient occlusion and maybe say, that's not really enough, it's too much noise, so we could then just go up the samples, say to 32, and we don't want to output all of them again, so we just hit this button to output the one image, and in a few seconds, and there we go. Slightly better, and that's how easy it is.